What is up, guys? I am the one and only Eagle Double T, and in this video, I'm going to be taking a look at the Wii Classic Controller Pro and seeing if it's worth your hard-earned cash. So without further ado, let's begin. Now, this is by far the most hardcore controller for the Wii. So first, let's talk about the comfort. Now, I feel like this is a very comfortable controller and that it'll fit most size hands. My fingers wrap nicely around the nice big handle and rest very comfortably on the nice big trigger on the back. So comfort shouldn't be an issue with this controller, and I even sometimes find myself holding it like this and putting two fingers on the back like that, one on the bumper, one on the trigger. Now, I don't ever hold it like that, or any controller like that, I mean, but I think this is the exception, and no matter how you hold it, it should fit your hands very nicely. Now let's talk about the durability of this controller and the button quality. Now the durability is not an issue. It does feel a little bit cheap because it is so light, but that's because it doesn't have rumble. But the plastic they use is very nice, very solid. There's no creaking or bending, and I use all my force into it. Very well made controller. The A, B, X, and Y buttons are nice and stiff, but not too stiff. They're very nice. And I like how the A and B buttons are clear. It gives the controller a nice character. Now the middle buttons, the start, select, and home, I don't like. I feel like they're too small, and the home button is just too far dipped into the controller. But they're not that bad. The D-pad is a very nice Nintendo D-pad, and I've had no issues with it. And my fingers just rest very nicely on the A, B, X, and Y buttons and the D-pad. Very nice. Now, the joysticks were my biggest concern. I felt like I wouldn't like them, but they definitely grew on me, and they're very accurate, which is very nice. And even though my thumbs don't stay on them, the thumbsticks, when my fingers are really sweaty, other than that, they stay on pretty nicely. Just nice control. Now, the controller is very light and feels a bit cheap, but that's because it doesn't have rumble. But in reality, everything on this controller is built very solid. The plastic they use is very nice and dense, and there's no creaks or squeaks or bends in it when I move it, even when I apply a lot of force to it. The buttons, the joysticks, the triggers, they also feel fairly well built, so in general, the durability on this controller should be no issue. Now let's talk about the buttons, the joysticks, etc. Now the A, B, X, and Y buttons are very nice. They're stiff, but not too stiff, which gives them a very nice feel. I like how the A and B buttons are clear, and it gives the controller a very unique character. Now the start, select, and home buttons are not that good. They're extremely stiff and much too small. Now the D-pad is a very nice Nintendo D-pad, and it just shows off how amazing Nintendo's D-pads are. It's a very nice size, and it's very nice to use. Now, the joysticks were a big concern of mine at first, but after a while, I learned that they really were pretty nice. My fingers stay on them fairly well, but not super well when they're sweaty, and they're very accurate, and it's very nice. Now, the bumpers are nice. They're a good size, and my fingers, they stay on very well. Now, the triggers are probably one of my favorite parts of this controller. They're nice, they're big, and my fingers just really enjoy being on them. So overall, the buttons are very good on this controller. Now, this controller has compatibility with quite a few games. For example, Super Smash Bros. Brawl and Mario Kart Wii, as well as many other Wii games. However, not Super Mario Galaxy, which I really would have liked to see this controller used for. But one thing is, I really like how Nintendo didn't just forget about this controller with the Wii U. They kept it alive. It can play Black Ops 2, Super Smash Bros. For Wii U, Super Mario Maker, and Mario Kart 8. So I really like how they didn't just completely forget about this controller and how they kept it alive. That's a very nice thing to see from Nintendo because this is a nice controller. So, the cons of this controller are: it has no rumble, which makes it feel light and cheap, Plus, I would have really liked to see that feature in this controller. It is pretty glossy, which shows off nasty smudges at all times, but it's not that bad. And I feel like the cord is a bit short, just a bit, and I really would have liked this controller to just be able to be wireless with the console and you not have to be able to plug it into the Wii remote. Now, the pros of this controller. It has high build quality, it is very comfortable, and the buttons and the joysticks and everything are very high quality. So, looking at it now, would I recommend it? Yes, I would. I would give this controller, I'd say 4 stars, because it does have some very nice features. However, it does have some not so good things. So, I would give this 4 stars, and I would recommend this controller for all Wii owners. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and comment what you think of this controller. I am the one and only Eagle Double T signing off. Goodbye.